Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are today looking at Marvel Snap. Now, before Marvel Snap even had a name as Marvel Snap, this game was known to me specifically as the next game from Ben Brode, who was a major contributor to the creator of Hearthstone in his new business that he formed after leaving Activision Blizzard and forming Second Dinner. And I was very hyped on that, and so if you've been following my channel, I've said from that as soon as I could play Marvel Snap or Ben Brode's next game, I would play it. Unfortunately, I will say the plan was to make Marvel Snap, or whatever his next game as it might be the new card game that I would stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Unfortunately, once they actually revealed what Marvel Snap was, it doesn't really have a lot of connection to a traditional trading card game, or really it may not even fall under that classification at all at this point. And it is definitely a very focused around 3-minute games, which is too short because it's just like constant play. Now, it does have an interesting idea, certainly, in the idea that you just play and you don't take turns, but by not taking turns, that doesn't really work for me when I'm live streaming, because I'm talking about video game news, I'm talking about I'm looking at games that have been released on Steam. There's just a lot of other things that I'm distracting myself with when I live stream, on top of playing right now Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And so this game really doesn't seem like it would work for me, and it really feels like it's a cell phone game for just play a couple games and then put it down very quickly. Like, clearly in this early access, you're not getting any specialized.
As a warm-up to the real warm-up.
Like, there's no real accommodation here for PC.
Hi, just gotta be home by
I'm not even really seeing any options. So we're in the tutorial, and I guess the playfield here is New York, which has a 0-0. I assume we're playing as Nick Fury against Dr. Doom, and we're just dragging, again, very much in the sense that you'd be playing this with a touchscreen, Spider-Man. And here you have this nice little animation. They did talk about how they had spent a lot of times making these animations, but notably, really all you have here is some static, flat animations of the characters. There is a technology called Live 2D that would make static 2D animations bounce back and forth and look more realistic. That very well might work well with Marvel characters. I wouldn't want to see them try and make 3D models that would be able to be rendered on a cell phone, because then the 3D models almost certainly would look very small and very ugly. But immediately you have this weirdness in that the cards get very, very small.
Barely doom hanging.
Press the in button. Now, when you really play the game, there is a timer, but here I don't think it really is. But yeah, you're going to play characters or other kinds of cards to just synergize in some weird way. But unlike something like Hearthstone, there's seemingly no description other than the power gem. So it's a very basic card game. We can see the Second Dinner logo, which I guess maybe is a tagging system to say you like this card, you don't like this card, or you love this card. This might very well just be a feedback system as far as the early access. I can't help but feel like this is not the kind of game that people are going to stick with for the long term compared to something like Hearthstone, which was constantly stuck with. I played it for 3 or 4 years straight many years ago, until I finally just got bored of it. And at a certain point, even Hearthstone started adding completely different gameplay methods. So Elektra there, when she came in,
let's send Spider-Man some backup.
Like,
What are you buttercups cackling on about?
like each character seems like they're going to have a line of dialogue, but I imagine unless you give these guys
You just gonna watch?
20
Move!
or 40 different summon lines of dialogue, it's going to get fairly repetitive. Now there are 3 lanes, and that's what I imagine is inspiring this more, is the idea of having multiple lanes, which is a concept that's somewhat newer, but honestly I don't know if I really like it as a concept. So now we have a power of
I'm
5
Spider-Man.
versus I have no idea what her power is, and I cannot click on Elektra. It's worth mentioning that I am playing this looking at a TV that's 10 feet away, and this game just does not work that way at all. So if I am going to continue to play this, I am going to probably have to figure out some way to magnify it. Like, it would be nice if there was a way to rotate the screen, and I imagine if I just had a monitor that was rotated, that probably would work. Seemingly you can bring her back and then pull her back and put her in a different position, but noticeably I cannot pull up that card to see it, even though I could do that with Spider-Man before. They have this kind of parallax effect where it almost looks 3D, but it really is just the text is on a different plane that's closer to the camera, and there is a slight tilt that happens as the card comes in which it's slightly tilted so you can see a shadow behind the text being in front versus the images. It's not particularly as fancy as it might seem, though. There could be a lot more improvement later on as far as animations, and I imagine that if this game became super popular, that's exactly what would happen, is that it would just become more and more animated, which at a certain level probably doesn't work particularly well either, because they really need to focus on the adding more and more cards. Being limited to the Marvel Universe, though, they can only do so many different versions of Spider-Man before it's going to get boring. Now, of course, this does have the Marvel name behind it, so it, as a game, probably will succeed somewhat. It's just, I question its longevity overall. And Marvel and DC in particular may be the biggest comic book things ever, but they are not really successful as franchises compared to Mario or Indiana Jones or even Star Wars. And since Disney owns Marvel now, like, it's very possible that Disney doesn't really care about Marvel snap enough to try and have it improve. Like, I almost from day one can see that at some point the Marvel part of this is going to need to go away, and that they're going to have to start having just generic properties happen. Disney properties probably to start with. Get the Star Wars characters in there, get the Disney cartoon characters in there, just have it be this multiverse of different characters fighting each other. At some point you try to get DC in there too, but that'd be a big fight to get power balance Marvel versus DC characters. But Marvel alone is not going to be good. Star-Lord has a special ability, so apparently none of the 2 previous or 4 previous cards do have a special ability. See, when you click on something like this, you don't get that parallax effect. Like, you can tilt the card a little bit, and you can see...
Gladly accepts more time to plot your demise.
You can see that this is just kind of a generic 3D model with a picture on it. And there are layers to it, certainly, where the background layer is a little bit off of what the character layer is, which is a little bit lower than what the text layer is. So Star-Lord says if your opponent played a card here this turn, +3 power, we can see we have 2 new locations. One will be revealed next turn, and one will be revealed in 2 turns. Now we can finally see Elektra, and you can see how the text on Elektra's card pops out a lot more than Star-Lord's card did. So there is an inconsistency as far as just the depth of field on these images, but you really aren't going to spend a lot of time looking at these cards if they don't have special abilities. And so they're just always going to be these tiny things. Wasp here. Both of these cards only have a power of 1, so they're keeping the power schedule fairly low. And so you can play on a field that you haven't revealed yet. Okay. My question about this special ability, though, is on reveal. Yeah, you would assume that means when I put it from my hand into the deck. But even at that, the turns you play in parallel, or at least that's what they explained the game as when they were previewing it. So how can you even follow a rule like this? If your opponent played a card here this turn, +3 power. So effectively, we don't know if if your opponent played a card this turn until you end the turn. I guess it's a blind guess always, or you would see them playing real time and then you would play it back. That is weird. Inherently, though, I'm going to win the game here, because in this scenario, either he's going to play something here and then this guy is going to get +3 power to be a 5, so it'll be 5-5-0, or he's going to play something here and he'll win 1 and I'll win 2. So we're already at game over at this point.
Toy with doom at your own peril.
So I guess we're just waiting until this is revealed. Tap the location to see what it does. So apparently New York also may have an effect. Winning this has you draw a card, I guess. Or controlling this has you draw a card. And I assume this is just a case where that only happens once and not every turn, but it may happen every turn. It says most cards have special abilities. Here we have another Hawkeye character that is very boring looking as far as the parallax. I'm noticing a trend here where the female characters seem to have been lovingly animated with more of a parallax effect than the male characters, which won't work greatly as far as Marvel characters because there's a lot more male characters in the Marvel universe, male superheroes, than females. And I guess in this case, Medusa, she's not particularly well animated either. So it might have more to do with the color of the edge. It could be that this purple edged here means this is a either special version of Elektra, or Elektra is a higher rarity of cards. But I haven't heard word one about this game having any way to unlock cards or gain cards, or if I did hear about it, I forgot about it very quickly. You do have this kind of electric blue on Wasp 2, and electric blue on Sentinel, whereas this boring guy, Star-Lord's boring animation is gray. Spider-Man's boring animation is gray on the edge. Rogue's boring animation is gray on the edge. And these are all gray on the edge. Hawkeye says if you play a card here next turn, plus 2 power, and then Medusa's on reveal if this is in the middle location, plus 2 power. So you could strengthen your lead, or you could try and control the middle, or control the right. I think what you do is this, and then that. And then that just keeps it fairly balanced. But it's worth mentioning, you're talking 16 cards in your entire deck. And that is part of the strategy of this game. It is a unique concept, certainly, in that you basically are going to play your entire deck in 6 turns, and the games straight up may only end at the end of 6 turns. And here we have a different kind of animation.
Sorry I'm late. Pilates.
Yeah, and these joking responses are going to get annoying very quickly. Iron Man has a powerful ability. He has a power of 0, but the total power is doubled. So, let's see what this area does. Wakanda Embassy, give plus 2 power to the cards in the player's hands, which I assume means that's going to give plus 2
Would you look at that?
to the player's cards in Dr. Doom's hands. Well, interestingly, that affected me. This guy has plus 2 also. So does that mean that Nova Roma, which I have no idea what that even has to, what that is, so does that mean Nova Roma drew a card specially for Dr. Doom on his turn also? Possibly. I could see with really only being able to play 16 cards and probably only having 16 cards in your deck, drawing an extra card might be very helpful, but it might also be very dangerous. New York does not have any special ability. Alright, so when we play this, it's going to give plus 2 power. So you do that, and so then that's going to bring him to a 3, and then this guy will be at 2, and then his ability hopefully at that point will kick in to give this to a 6 and a 4. Let's see, so it should be 10.
I am Iron Man.
Yep, and that's exactly what it went to.
We're low on time. Let's move.
Halt worth wait.
See, pretty much every part of this game just screams that it's for very young kids, and that this is kind of, for lack of a nicer way to say it, baby's first card game. In that there really is nothing here. And I would question if you were to try to put this down as a real world card game, which is always an interesting way to evaluate digital card games, how easily you could convert it to a real world card game, because there's a lot of, I assume, randomness based on the locations, which you can certainly have a random draw pile of locations and just shuffle those location cards. But then there's a lot of rules as far as order of operations, as far as you could have potentially argued that this guy should have only gotten +2 power after this guy doubled the location power. So in that case, instead of being a 3 turned into a 6, it would have been a 2 plus 2, which would have only been 4. And yeah, the rules are a little bit simplified here because it's a digital game. Otherwise, so far we haven't seen anything that's really screaming out like it absolutely would not have worked in a real world game. So we have Abomination, and we have Hulk here, which just has a power of 12, which does, I think, point out that that's going to be your scale. I imagine in the Marvel Universe there aren't too many people that are going to have a power level higher than 12. 12 seems particularly high. So yeah, I think you just play here, and then in turn, and it's their final turn. And who was that?
Victory!
Next time, I'll try to break a sweat.
And noticeably, you cannot click on cards or reveal what that was. But something here, some special ability, gave him extra power, because 21 is really high compared to 17. Had I played this here, same outcome. Had I played this here, same outcome. I could have played this here to see if I got a fairly high number. It almost feels like you should be able to break these worlds if they go too high, and that there could be a balancing aspect, that if the combined total power on a field was over 20, the field itself would break. Or if one person has an overkill of 10, in the sense that it would be like 10 to 0, then it would break, and that would add some more randomness to it. The music here is fairly annoying, I have to say. It says play games to visually upgrade your cards. So instead of potentially, like, this is early access, and I assume most of this is going to be free, but instead of having different versions of the cards, it may very well be that it's just different skins of the same cards, which I don't know if that's enough of a motivating factor for people to want to continue to play this game over and over again just to make their favorite cards look a little bit better. So we have this 2, and I have no idea what this 2 is because they didn't show that in gameplay at all. And so you just frame break it. So now it is a green uncommon. Another free upgrade, dang so generous. I don't know if you want to have even dang in your game, if this really is for kids, which I think it is. Notice here also you have animated screen sky, and it really stands out compared to the static background for the Steam version of this. So it isn't that the male characters are not as lovingly animated. It's that every character has multiple versions of their appearance, which more than likely they just made the best version, and then they made the best version worse, flattened it down, and got rid of some of the pan and tilt effects on it.
3D.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that said 30. Upgrading cards unlocks new cards. Okay. So now we have the Punisher, and I'm still not really sure what this 3 means though. Ongoing +1 power for each opposing card in this location. And then the game is saved. And now we're in match 2. Agatha Harkness, a character you very possibly wouldn't recognize as a kid. So we're still in tutorial mode, 26 minutes in, which I think it's worth pointing out that if this is supposed to be a fairly fast game, at least in the tutorials you're not going to have that fast experience as you're learning stuff about it. This time we start with 3 locations, and the one on the left is unlocked first. Xandar cards here have +1 power.
Sloth, is it?
And then we can play Quicksilver, which I think has some relation to Agatha Harkness, but yeah, I really wouldn't know enough about Marvel Universe to tell you. And this is not a Quicksilver from the Marvel movies per se. Not even really a Quicksilver that I would recognize from the comics. Starts in your opening hand always. So we have this energy aspect, which potentially means that the cards now are limited. The first tutorial was fairly dishonest by not showing you the energy meters and not telling you, yes, some cards are going to be too powerful and you're going to need extra energy. What gives us energy is an interesting question. Do you get energy for owning specific areas, or do you get energy by each turn? Mighty Knight, a character I've never even heard of. Cards in this pile have +1 power. Okay. Ongoing +1 power for each opposing card in this turn. Well, it's really, it seems like Quicksilver and Mighty Knight are the exact same character, exact same card, so it doesn't matter.
10,000 years and winning never gets old.
So yeah, +1 energy per turn. So this is kind of like Hearthstone, I imagine, where each turn you gain an extra energy. So second turn you're gonna have 2, third turn you'll have 3, fourth turn you'll have 4, fifth turn 5, sixth turn 6. So almost certainly you won't run into any cards, or maybe there'll be like 1 or 2 cards that have more than 6 energy, and you have to do some kind of strategy to gain energy on top of what you normally would have. Like, the Marvel Universe does have god characters and Galactus and just like I think the Eternals and maybe Marvel. So there's There's a lot of nonsense characters that are really, really undefeatable and super strong, and to depict them, you would have to have them be final turn type cards or special unlock type cards. Hearthstone's idea of adding power per turn is not a terrible idea. Before then, it really was much just everybody doing the Magic the Gathering thing where you played lands and you drew lands as cards to gain mana from the lands, or similar concepts. The Vault. On turn 6, cards cannot be played here. So, owning that early makes sense. Now we have 2 energy, and ideally you would want to control, use as the maximum amount of energy, so it makes sense to just play that, I think. She played Shocker,
Excuse my reach.
which doesn't have any special ability. And the hub adds a random card to each player's hands when revealed, even if you don't have anything on that side of the field. So, Mr. Fantastic has an ongoing adjacent locations have +2, so you put that in the middle, and obviously, and this says created by the hub as a card, and I don't know what that means. I don't know why you would be able to drag that part back and forth like that. Okay, so we put the Punisher here and in the turn.
Careful. Just have the suit cleaned.
Okay. So then what we want to do is play this guy, and he'll give plus powers this way, and then we now see Hulk at power 12 is an energy 6 character. He'll be what we almost certainly play at the end. We have an energy 5 here. Your total power is doubled at a location, so we just do this here, and we're just giving extra power. But noticeably, I may have played out of order there. If I put this on the field, then played this. Okay. So, we potentially lose the vault. If we don't try and secure the vault. We could put the abomination here, and that probably would secure the vault. But you know, we pretty much win if we double the power here. So I think you're probably pretty safe as long as you don't just put a card on that side. Because he can't put any more than 4 cards on this side. And yeah, at a certain level, I do kind of enjoy seeing...
Staring contest. Open invite.
I do kind of enjoy seeing these, like, characters that I've never heard of. But, noticeably, there's no backstory here. At all. Let's see, I don't know how to really read this. Apparently Xandar is giving this Sarah +1 to make her a power of 6. Let's see if we can find Xandar. Oh, this is Xandar. Yeah. A I assume diamond shape around the frame indicates that it's a location. Alright, so we have Cyclops, which does nothing. Or we play Hulk. We've won this because you can't play there. So we could either play Hulk here and double and win this, or we could play Hulk here and try to secure a triple victory. Do you get more rewards for a triple victory? I don't know. Do you get more rewards for doubling your attack? I don't know. I think it's more interesting to potentially do this and see what a doubled doubled 12 would do. Like, this is ongoing, your total power is doubled in this location. Yeah, let's just see what happens there. That gets up to like 40 and still has a very high number there.
Victory.
But going from like 16 to 20 to 40 didn't change the animation there. Now is a slightly quicker experience as we're learning. And it seems like in this early access, you're on a path in which you can visually upgrade things once, maybe twice every game, and that's going to be it. But I wonder where the monetization really is coming from this, unless this is just straight up Disney has paid second dinner to create a game for free just to advertise Marvel comics and characters. Like, I don't know. I've yet to see a way in which they could sell anything that would actually be that interesting. I could see maybe selling skin packs, but it would be very expensive to have animators just constantly making skins to try and sell as microtransactions. I could see having loot boxes, but if there are loot boxes, then the idea of getting cards by upgrading cards visually doesn't make sense. So there would almost have to be a second level of currency that you could get, some kind of gems that would be used to upgrade things visually. And in early access, the gem system is just missing. Or, worst case scenario here, is that this is going to have a stamina system, and every time you play a game, you're going to lower your stamina and have to buy stamina with real world money, or wait 24 hours. You see, that's kind of the problem here, is that in early access you could have a great amount of fun on a game like this, and then as soon as it comes out of early access, it could reveal a incredibly greedy microtransaction loot box based experience, and it could reset all of your progress so that you have to start buying things that you had earned in early access. It says Sentinels waiting in your collection. Edit your deck here. Pop open your deck. Your new card is great. Replace Shocker. Alright, so Shocker is a 2/3. Remove that from the deck. Sentinel is a 2/3 that adds another Sentinel to your hand, which is better. The deck is incredible, be dominant. Alright, and I can't do anything else. We're still locked in the tutorial loop 40 minutes in. A new challenger awaits. Click play. Enter a name. Let's quickly type in a name and see if that works. Yep. New Master 89. Maybe a real person, maybe not. And we have Mojo World. Whoever has more cards gets a plus 100 power. Oh, that sounds insane. Well, so plus 100 power. Revealed next turn. You know what? For not playing 2 cards, we now do have a time limit with no warning whatsoever on that. I was leaning on the idea that to not play, but that didn't do anything. Oh man, you've got to move fairly quickly here. So I didn't play, and I guess maybe the timer is up here fast enough, and so I just straight up lost after not playing 2 turns. And I guess they're just calling that straight up escaping instead of, say, surrendering. They're making it a positive thing when really it is a negative thing. And I don't know why they're specifically showing me a card here, but apparently I got something here that would let me upgrade the thing, but noticeably it will cost 1,000 of this currency, and seems like 5 of this currency. No, I have 1,000 of this currency and 6 of this currency, and upgrading would take 25 of that currency and 5 of that currency. Let's just do it anyways. The idea of having two currencies and things costing both of those currencies is insane. And increasing your collection level has apparently unlocked Jessica Jones, which is a 4/4, which is probably a better card. There's a little question mark here. Clicking on this question mark didn't seem to do much. Upgrade your cards and earn variant art cards to increase your collection level. Upgrade to uncommon gives you +1. Upgrade to rare gives you +2. Upgrade to epic gives you +4. Upgrade to legendary gives you +6. Upgrade to ultra +8, and upgrade to infinity gives you +10. So unlike most card games, which would just have a common, uncommon, rare, and epic for although usually it would be rare and then legendary or ultra rare or super rare or something like that. It would have 4 tiers regardless. You have a whopping 7 tiers of upgrades on this because you start at common, so the first upgrade is actually uncommon. That is a lot of upgrades. It probably is a system designed specifically around Marvel cards in particular, because Marvel as a franchise is going to have a lot of the same characters. We're going to want to see 6 or 7 different variants of the Hulk. Alright, so we have some daily missions or recruit missions. These might be more lifetime missions in particular. And they want you to sign in with Google Play, which notably is indicating that that there is actually sorry, I'm distracted by a spam text. we can see there's a season pass here. There's probably lifetime missions here. If we click on missions, it does seem like there's weekly challenges. And then recruit season. Season chapter 2 unlocks after season chapter 1. Seemingly no dailies, which that's kind of nicer. Frankly, usually dailies are weeklies anyways. This is visually broken. You can like shift to this middle screen, but there doesn't seem to be anything on that middle screen. And it seems like it carousels in circles. What does this plus do? Apparently nothing. That's just the collection symbol. Social media, videos, and index. So there's absolutely nothing on news. So how do you get back to the main area? So $2.99 at the storefront gets you the Captain America welcome bundle. There's some daily offers with gold. So for $3 you get 700 gold, which is roughly, let's say, each piece of gold, or each 100 pieces of gold is worth 50 cents, which isn't the most expensive I've ever seen in a game, but it is also still real world money. It seems like you could probably upgrade these fast upgrades with other currencies, so let's see. Yeah, this is your, what I assume is the common currency, where I assume this is the premium currency. So upgrading that is probably a smart idea. Inherently, this game is just going to have to add more and more concepts, though, and more cards. Otherwise, you're going to have a game that people are fully saturated upon, and they're gonna have unlocked all the different frames for all the different cards, and unlocked all the cards, and then the shallowness of the actual game itself is going to be fairly obvious. Here we get a first time free 50 credits. And they're calling those credits, I guess, and come back in 10 hours to get another free set of it. Otherwise, buy with gold. And there is a package here, certainly, to spend $100 on 8,000 gold, which is a slightly better deal, I think, but not by much. Let's see, because 700 gold is $10, so 10 times that gives you an extra 1,000, so slightly better deal. But overall, I'd say the shop doesn't look amazingly good for what the game actually is, and that's going to kind of constantly be an issue. Now, I speculated that there were 16 cards, and I was right. There's 4 plus another 4. Nope, I'm wrong. It's 12, if I can count correctly. Yeah, 6 and 6. So Jessica Jones as a 4/4 could be replaced with a 4/6. She would be a 4/8. So let's see. Noticeably, you can't drag the card. So you have to click on something, click remove, then click add. This guy is a 4/4 with a 1 cost cards having +1 power. And so effectively, you probably want 2, maybe 3 1 cost cards in your deck. And then you really only want like 1 6 card, 1 5 card, 2 5 cards, I guess. Yeah. Now, the question here is there a way to look at all the potential cards? Now, I do have to say that they're doing this right by having share and paste options, which Hearthstone introduced that idea about halfway through its life, or I'd say actually probably much late into its life cycle. It introduced the idea of sharing and pasting deck builds, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel does not really have that ability, and that's a big problem with Master Duel. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel has been out for over 6 months now, probably 7 or 8 months, and it still is missing a lot of features for a game that is not indicating that it is in early access. Okay, so recruit season, this is your season pass, starts with character frames as far as avatars, and then if you get to level 2 you'll unlock Ant-Man, and then you'll unlock another 200 credits, and then a frame, and then 100 gold, 20 boosters, which upgrade cards, card backs, which you're really not going to do much with card backs. And you're working towards Blue Marvel at level 20 on the season pass. The thing though here, let's get back to the main screen. Man, this spin does not want to stay. Like you try to go fast, it doesn't, it snaps. But true to the name, it's definitely snapping. Otherwise, this game is not really snapping, nor is it really even making a snapping sound effect. I see. But yeah, this is clearly glitched. So the season pass here is called a recruit season. Is there a purchase of a season pass or battle pass? Nope. Noticeably that is missing. So yeah, Ant-Man at 1/1 probably is better than what we've got. Let's go ahead and remove that one and add that one. Let's see if we can look at any settings here. Download all assets, link account, report bugs, Switch over to 60 frames per second. We could turn the music down, certainly. That would be definitely more towards what I would have it set as if I was going to stream this. There's just no way I'd be able to stream this. It does have an interesting idea, certainly, around if I didn't have it in full screen and it was just on the left side of the screen and I was talking about video game news on the right. I could see myself using open broadcast software to merge those two images together and have the game always in the corner being depicted, but I already kind of do that when I'm streaming Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel by just having a screen in the top right corner, and that doesn't show everything at great resolution or detail, certainly, but it works. So let's play for real here and just like, it's gonna take a while to just read all these cards and try and figure out what they do. Right. So there was something about this cube here. I recall them making a big deal around that when they talked about the game. A 9-power monster for each player. Interesting. But yeah, I don't know what the thing is about the snap. When to collect cosmic cubes, more cubes means higher ranks. The cube's power unlocks at rank 10. So there's this whole get to rank 10 to get a feature. Let's see. There you go. That was dumb. Let's not do that. Let's do something like this. Just in the turn there. Yeah, the timer, I suppose, is behind as a background here, and you just have to pay attention to it. Now it's tied. Right. Do this, and then in the turn. That'll make it a 5, which doesn't do much, but then it will get plus 4 power. And see, the idea of playing at the same time really doesn't change much, because you are still just waiting on the other person to play. There's no real weirdness or extra there. Let's see. Does monsters do anything?
I am Iron Man.
So that doubles to 26. So if I was to play this, I'd just get 25 anyways. So I could either confirm a lock here or confirm a lock here, and it's just easier to do that. No special effect really for playing Abomination and Hulk, who are like mortal enemies. You'd think that there might be a difference there, or that there might be a new effect there.
Victory!
But no, it's not that complicated. So it's seemingly going to let us frame break things and get used to the idea of frame breaking things for a while here. But once you start to add more cards, you are also going to have that weirdness of then having more things to frame break. So it's going to get harder and harder to actually do the things you want to do. Right, a 3-2 versus a 3-4 or a 3-2. I think we get rid of Cyclops and we add him to the deck. Right. Then we got a mission complete somewhere here. Something went wrong. Wait, try again in a few minutes. Something went wrong. Try again in a few minutes. Alright, well, let's just play again. I don't know if there's a lot more that you can learn from this game until we get to level 10, and I don't know how quickly. Let's see. There might be something weirder here, so let's just play there and then in the turn, because it's going to shuffle your hand and draw 3 cards. So mostly we just want to draw cards. I find it very weird that after turn 3, shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 3 cards. It does seem just kind of weird that these effects are not triggered by who is controlling the area most of the time. So these are just random modifiers basically of the field to try and keep things varied and interesting. And Ruins has just no effect at all. Alright. Yeah, I vaguely recall when they were revealing this game, which they really didn't do a lot to reveal this game anyways, that there was a big effect around clicking the cosmic cube, whether it just kind of randomized things or what. I don't remember. Right. I'm just gonna do that and hope that that saves the day. Really don't have a lot of time. Like 6 turns is not a lot for any kind of real deep strategy compared to, say, Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a very old game at this point and very complicated. You definitely aren't having like monster sides of the field and then traps and spell squares and field spells and extra decks and banishment card zones and graveyard card zones. There's just none of that that you would typically see in a collectible card game. And arguably, I don't think this is so much a collectible card game as it is a deck building game, in that you eventually, or at least it seems like that's the case, yeah, almost didn't play there. It definitely seems like it's the case where
Iron
you
Man.
are
I am Iron Man.
what am I trying to say? It seems like a case where you are really focusing in on. Let's just do this. Oh, what I was trying to say is that it seems like a case where you are going to get all the cards fairly quickly, as long as you just keep on playing, and that does highlight more towards a deck building game. Suffice it to say, it is early in the morning here. I'm trying to do a live stream as early as this game came out and see if that catches more people's attention. Normally I wouldn't even be awake at this time. Alright, so that did work that time. And so we may very well be at level 3, but that may be recruit season level 3, not so much not so much a Cosmic Cube level 3. Yeah, noticeably all of this is tagged as free, so almost certainly there will be a paid battle pass that they just have not rolled out yet. It says I have done something with the Cosmic Cubes, but let's see. Would any of these be upgradable? And can you upgrade them from this point? Let's see. No, I don't think we can upgrade them because I don't think we have enough of this currency. Which that currency seems to be a third currency that's not even on the main menu. Yeah, we can switch over our avatar. So who would we pick? Let's just pick that one. We'll have the more annoying accessories that is like an avatar in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is what they call the mate, which is just 3D characters that are on the side of the screen and they just kind of dance around and make noise. They don't really do anything else. Yeah. Overall though, I'm just interested. How do I get to rank 10? Do I have to just win and keep on playing? Cards here have -1 power. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna bother to play that then. Yeah, I definitely know though I could not make this a replacement for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. As far as my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday streams. There's no way I'm gonna pay enough attention and move fast enough to play this game. I struggle to move fast enough even in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which gives me a lot more time. Let's see. Come on. I want to take that back. Why can I not take it back? Darn it. Whatever. It seems very weird that you wouldn't be able to take back moves. And see, this would have that, if you play a card here next turn, benefit, but there's no room to play any more cards. So, +2 power. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. And then adding another Sentinel to my hand is not a terrible idea either. And that's really all we can do, so we'll end the turn. Do we have any ongoing thing that will buff up this 4th section? Because you definitely are spending a lot of effort to get 4 into 1 cube. I guess this has never been seen before, which I guess that's cool and all, but is there some kind of Pokedex or something that would make sense? Adjacent power locations have +2. Yeah, unless there was some kind of Pokedex that said, alright, you've never seen this card before, now you've revealed it, so now there is something even cooler around that. Yeah. It's so crazy that there's no descriptive text, just like explaining all of this more. And I think I've figured out also that it is really a case where just double power here and then the turn. Yeah, I think the purple here is Iron Man's effect. So each animation is kind of unique to specific characters instead of there being a more standardized animation for things, which that can be very confusing as they add more and more cards. Yep. Apparently this currency is just something you get.
3D.
It must be the case that you just get that when you need it. Because I don't see any ways to earn it otherwise. Ongoing cards +2 power. So that's definitely one to think about. Now, an interesting question certainly is to ask, as we're going up this level, are we getting the same cards as everyone else, or are we getting a random collection of cards? And once we start hitting these mystery cards, who knows? And this collection level just goes on. Unfortunately, I will say it's not surprising that when we click on a card and say see the Hulk here, there is no connection to this to get you to a Marvel Comixology type website, which probably is Comixology still, where you could go and read Hulk comics or buy them digitally, or even point you towards a local comic book store if those things are even going to exist in the future. There really is no value as far as Disney is concerned in Marvel as comics. There's only value as in Marvel owning a bunch of characters, intellectual property that they can make movies after based on. And certainly this isn't the first time, it's probably not even the 10th time that there has been some Marvel game out there that in no way tries to cross-promote the comics. Now, arguably, that's because the comics are garbage. Like, that there is definitely that argument that can be made. One ongoing, one on reveal, one on reveal, one on reveal, one on reveal, two ongoing, three ongoing, four ongoing. So this would be a 6 giving 2 to 3 or 4 characters. Should be plus 8. So a 6 plus an 8. Does that beat 12? I think it does. So let's get rid of Hulk and add her. And that's just a level of math there. Yeah, fairly quickly though, we are going to run out of weekly challenges, and you'll get 2 more missions in 1 hour and 20 minutes. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot here. It's just a lot of stuff that they're having you jump around and trying to get you to feel like you're earning a lot when you really aren't probably earning that much. Plus you're not really doing anything here as far as particularly making it interesting. Alright, ongoing effects here are doubled. So let's go ahead and do this. And in the turn. Yeah, I definitely question if this game is pushing the player to actually want to play. Transform into another location. Okay. On reveal. And then the turn there. So almost certainly there's a card out there that on reveal gets +2 power in the left location or the right location. So +4 by putting this on the left. It's probably not worth it. Let's do that instead. Alright, so now this is going to double the ongoing effects, and I was wondering if that was going to happen. So then that can just double that, and then since we have extra energy, we can play that. And that gives it 2 even when something hasn't been revealed. Or actually it gave it 4. Okay. Ongoing total power is doubled. Which, sure, do that, and then in return, total power will be doubled and doubled.
I am Iron Man.
It gets up to 32.
I am Iron Man.
Which still that's at 34. Right. Ongoing power +2. Right. This is an on reveal card, so we'll put this over there and then in our final turn, and that should give a lot of extra stuff.
Victory.
Actually, I thought I was gonna win this center spot, but I didn't. So I guess this effect wasn't triggered or recalculated as a double of this effect. And so I got fairly lucky there, because had I not gotten that +2 from this character, then that would have been weird. And so I guess maybe there's an effect here that's being affected here. Yeah, this is called Onslaught Citadel, and this says ×2 for ongoing. So effects are going to be like up in the corners or down in the center. It can just be all over the place. So are we getting to level 5 here? Are we halfway to level 10? Visually and audio wise, this is kind of nice, but it's not amazingly nice. It is, I think, also worth pointing out that there is a point here where Marvel cartoons are prevalent enough that they would, like, you could potentially have a link here to some kind of YouTube channel that would let you watch some old Marvel cartoons via ads, or some other kind of service that's not even YouTube, just to once again tie things into the Marvel content that already exists. Noticeably, there's not even a mention here of like Disney Plus or anything like that. So yeah, there's seemingly seems like there would be no cross promotion. Now, Netflix is trying to do cards here can't be destroyed. I didn't even know they could be destroyed. I guess you just pick one. Yeah, Netflix is trying to have games be a thing around their whole setup and their mobile app. I could see a future where Disney Plus decides to have a bigger push in its mobile app, which I don't know if Disney Plus even has a mobile app at this point. And then this would be the type of game that Disney would have the money to fund and create more than even Netflix. They could just be for free, and they could take out a lot of this microtransaction stuff or just leave it in even. But Disney Plus then could cross promote other Disney apps if they're going to be cell phone apps. And that is possible. Possibly the way this is going to go. Now, this Mojo, whoever has the more cards here gets 100 power. I think that means that this guy may be getting 100 power each turn. 100 power may very well just not be that much. Okay. That will give me 2. And then actually let's pull that back down. Do that. And then do that. I've never seen this card before. Part of the problem, though, even with Disney Plus, is that once you're starting getting into deep lore of Marvel, you're going to have characters like Angela, and at some point in the Marvel universe, just like in the DC universe, you're going to have some characters that are drawn a little bit more scantily clad or drawn more in an edgelord style. It's not going to be quite as family friendly as you might hope it would be. Alright. Let's play that. Let's play that. And let's end the turn. Yeah, I have like 113 attack there. So power is this. It is not energy. Whereas I thought that was going to be energy. Reveal effects happen twice at this location. Okay, so do we have give you ongoing cards +2. Do that. And then do that. Then do that. And that should win it for me. I'm hoping. I shouldn't have really played this card expecting to accomplish anything from that. This game feels like a game that should have achievements, and maybe with Google Play it does have achievements, but Steam-wise it doesn't seem like I've unlocked any achievements here, but maybe they're just not popping up. Oh snap, you encountered an error and has been reported, sorry. So we'll just see if we can reconnect to the game and see what happens.
Victory!
This is definitely very early access. Like, I don't know why there's animations happening there. Let's see, we have a card here that can be upgraded. So when it can be upgraded, it will have a red dot over it.
Frame break.
It seems almost like the Cosmic Cube is just this tease concept, though. They're really not even pointing you to that idea. And so I hope I'm getting to level 10 and that's going to unlock the power of the Cosmic Cube. But then I also hope that at some point the Cosmic Cube is going to have a path of upgrades. Otherwise it's not really going to make a lot of sense. +5 energy this turn. Okay. So +2 this turn. Okay. How many can I play here? 1, 2, 3, and 5. So just play this and then just play this and in the turn. I could have played that also. Interesting, the sound effect didn't even play there because I guess it just played there. When a card moves here, destroy it. Moves there. So I'm just taking up this whole center part, and we'll see if that destroys anything. I didn't play that well. Give +2 cards powers to the cards in the hands. And then we'll put this on that field, and that's probably all we need to do. I don't think he's gonna try and win the center spot, so he'll play something here, which will give this a chance to speed up here. Do that. Kind of short on cards. You can't move things, right? So he's gonna just keep on fighting to win here, and I'm going to struggle. Alright, so best bet is to do this and then do this in the turn.
I am Iron Man.
Okay. Let's see. We have final turn. 2 would double to that. That wouldn't do anything. Or this. And that would be 5, and that wouldn't do anything. So the best bet is to do this and this and just end the turn.
Got him.
Lizard loses 3 power. So this is our first loss or first tie. Which I guess a tie equals defeat. I don't see a real reason why that would be the case. I mean, they have 1 more power here. But that definitely doesn't seem like that's explained particularly well.
Frame break.
So do we go up in rank on defeats? Because that's a big thing to really want to know as far as collectible card games or trading card games is if you hit that wall and you start getting defeated over and over and over again, which does unfortunately happen fairly frequently it happens fairly frequently in trading card games. Can you grind by just losing over and over again out of that hole and still level up and potentially get better? Or are you just going to be stuck there? A lot of times you get stuck there, and the only way to get around that would be to pay money. At a certain level, most free-to-play games are going to have this thing happen where you hit a certain level. Maybe you get the gold out of platinum or diamond levels, which that's where I kind of am at Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, is that I'm somewhere between high gold rank and low platinum levels in most of the months. But to go any further I really would need to just start spending a lot of money to buy cards. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is exactly the same situation that happens here. Let's see. I have to just assume that the Cosmic Cube is going to either let you move or destroy cards. That's the only thing that makes any real sense. Because the concepts of moving or destroying cards so far has not been mentioned. There you go. We'll lock down on that one. Which that's probably a waste, but whatever. I also feel like these power levels probably don't work as well as they should. Like, having extra power levels really should do something more. And yeah, you still are just waiting. So I've locked in this one, I've locked in this one. There's very little that needs to happen here. Ongoing power cards, of which I don't know if I even have any ongoing power cards. So I could go 2, 4, or I could give 6, or I could double here. Let's go that, and then that, and that, and that's probably the best we can do. And even that's probably not going to work for us, but it doesn't matter, we've already won.
Victory!
Yep. This game definitely feels like it has a lot of visual polish in its cutscenes and audio and stuff. But
Frame break!
I feel like it's just such a dumbed down experience that you really want a whole different style of game to play with these cards. Maybe you could keep the general idea of cards with just a single power level and cost level, and then have a different gameplay style around it that would change things up. Noticeably, when you get a new card here, it doesn't highlight that. So this is a 3 with a 1. Let's see if this is better than the 3 we have now. 3 with 2 plus 1 power for each opposing card in this location. Ongoing adjacent locations +2 +2 +2 for that. I think I would take out this guy and put in this card, which isn't as dangerous as it seems because you always have Quicksilver anyways, so you could get rid of most of your other 1-cost cards if you wanted to, and it would hurt you only a little bit. Yeah, and I just want to play until we get to level 10 and see what this Marvel Snap Cube does, or this Cosmic Cube does. Cosmic Cube is the magical thing that is similar to the cosmic gems in the movie, which yeah, can do and will do basically anything. Interesting. When you don't have a card to play, that probably isn't going to give you any extra energy for not playing, which it probably should. And you have this retreat button as an option, but noticeably you don't have. What does this one do? No abilities. I don't really have any cards with no abilities. So there is kind of a level of inconsistency here in that you have a retreat button, but it says you escaped when you leave that area or when you don't play. Let's see. Go ahead and play that. And go ahead and play this. What I'm going to do is just abandon the center. And it kind of makes sense. If you click the retreat button, that escaped would be the right verbiage, but it doesn't make sense when you just don't play the game and you run out of time and it surrenders on your behalf. Which, yeah, people slow playing or slowing down the flow of play do make a lot of problems for people who are actually trying to play the game in a fast pattern. Noticeably though, if you, let's see, total power is doubled. Feels like that should be here. In a game like this, where they're already pushing for really fast experiences, they probably are going to be upset about people slow playing. And see, when you have this never before seen pop-up, is that counting against your timer? That's an interesting question. And I would suspect maybe it is. +4 power. Do that. Or do that. Probably shouldn't do either one of those and should do this. Yep.
Victory!
Yep. Yeah, and I definitely personally would be in the category of people who would be accused of slow playing, in that usually when I am playing a trading card game, I'm somewhat distracted. In fact, I even now just need to turn my phone upside down so I stop seeing all the notifications pop up. -3 power on that, which that's not gonna work. So let's do something like that. Although that's possibly better. Play a card here next turn, +2. So we'll do that. This is going to get very automated in the minds of players. They're going to have the perfect plays, the perfect solutions. There is no 5-card combinations that would potentially win the game in early. I imagine there are no early win conditions at all. So you can either put 1 there or 1 here. I'm gonna run out of options here. Okay, you're really getting squeezed here. I always draw this card on turn 2 and not before. Interesting. Right, so if I play this, this will be an 8. Or I can wait to make this a 9. Which I think that works fairly well. Don't play a card here. So he's chosen just to go for 3. Which that actually helps fairly well. Play this there. And that means I have a decent chance at winning all 3 of these, but no real reward for winning all 3 as far as I can tell. So I could put a 4 here if I had a 4. I could double the attack here and guarantee this. I could tie on that and play this. Let's see. I think you're better off just letting them win and playing that. I think that guarantees you a win better.
Victory!
I don't know if he ran out of cards or what. We're at 9, so 1, maybe 2 more games, and we should be at that number 10. And if that's not the number 10 that I need to be at to unlock the Cosmic Cube, at this point I think I'll just give up. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of faith that there was going to be something in this game that would convince me to play it and make it my new mainstay streaming game. But I was definitely open to the idea, or hoping that there might be something in this that would make me want to play it. I will say there is possibilities that I would play this on my cell phone if I'm bored, but usually if I'm playing a game on my cell phone when I'm bored, I'm wasting time and I have something better to do. We are unlocking things. But yeah, none of it feels particularly amazing. Let's see. Colossus can't be destroyed, moved, or power relocated, which might be useful later. Thing for 4 with no effect might be useful. adds a 7 power tiger to another location. So it's a 5, and then there's a 5/7 tiger spirit. I guess the question is, if you were going to put this here, you would do it to replace something like Sentinel that already gives you an extra card. Otherwise, you just don't need 2 cards in a deck, I imagine, to create extra cards. Unless there was something that changed the number of turns you played. But I don't suspect that that's the case either. I think it's always going to be 6 turns. I think there's no early win conditions. There's no late win conditions. And just not going to be anything like that. Cards played here have 25% chance of being destroyed. Interesting. Well, then don't put a card there. Is that 25% every turn? Because in 6 turns, that's almost guaranteed that they'd be destroyed. Whoever's winning here draws 2 cards, so we'll stick with that. I don't feel like we've seen Rocket Raccoon either, and yet we didn't get an animation on that. Play a card here next turn for 1, and we'll put a Sentinel here for that, and we'll end the turn. Yeah, there's pretty much no way that this Cosmic Cube is going to do something so amazing that it totally recontextualizes or changes how I look at this game. Gain 3 power. Go with that one there, and then we'll start to play this here, and then we'll end the turn. See, Lady Sif is discarding a card. First card we've seen that actually discards a card. And I guess the value in that is that it is a pretty powerful card with not a ton of extra energy. So we were winning here. We've now drawn 2 cards. That's exactly what we were looking for. Plus 2 power for every other card here. Plus 4 power here. If you don't play. We do a 3 and a 2. I think we can. Do that. And didn't do that. And then end the turn. Ongoing cards. We really don't have enough ongoing cards to have that trick. Okay. Well, adjacent to here wouldn't leave me enough to do this. Doubling power here wouldn't leave me enough to do that. Do this, and hope that wins. I don't want to think about it any more than that. Suppose there's an interesting thought here. If a card gets destroyed, does that maybe break it and then you have to recollect it? That would be crazy. That would be totally crazy if you're constantly going backwards and forwards as far as the your collection, and it would be the equivalent of like having real world cards and them getting torn up, or the rules saying you have to give away the cards or getting torn up, which the original version of the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game literally was like that, where you put up 3 random cards and basically were gambling to potentially lose your cards to whoever you're playing. And even Magic the Gathering, I think at one point had a system like that, and those were always received very poorly, particularly parents who are spending a lot of money for these kinds of trading card games for their kids, and so they got rid of that stuff. It says, congratulations on Iron Rank, enjoy a free bonus rank. Starting in Iron, you can lose ranks. Okay. So this is your rank play. We were at Recruit, we made it to Agent, and now you would play up to Bronze, and then Silver, and then Gold, and then Platinum, and Diamond, and then Vibranium, and then Omega, and then Galactic, and then Infinite, which that's a lot of ranks, certainly. Although it does seem like it probably is going to be fairly easy to get up to something like Platinum. I never get the idea where it goes Gold, then Platinum, then Diamond, but I do know Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel also uses that same system. Nope, that's not what I meant to click on. Let's see. Win with Spectrum starting in your deck. Is Spectrum in this deck? Let's see, do I even have a card called Spectrum? Spectrum. Yep. Spectrum is in our deck. So you're gonna have to make all kinds of decks at some point. And I suppose it is worth testing this to see if you can make extra decks and how many decks you can make, and whether or not they would start to ask for money. 10 decks is more than enough, but they are small decks, so I wouldn't be surprised if it lets you go way further. And it may just let you go up to like 250, 1,000, 65,000. Like it may be kind of an infinite number. Nope, 20 is the maximum, which is a very reasonable, in my opinion, amount. One more game, and then we'll call it a stream, 2 hours in. Nothing wrong with this game as a mobile game. The world of mobile games is mostly flooded with garbage. Anyways, whoever loses will lose a cube. I don't know what losing a cube means, but honestly it seems like that is just an indicator of how you level up. After each turn, give cards here +1 power, so that's a good place to start. Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl is way better of a card than what I have. that. Let's see, what does this one do? Ongoing effects are doubled. So do we have any ongoing effect cards that we can put here? And then at turn 5 all cards must be played here. Interesting. Ongoing effects here are doubled. That makes a lot of sense. We haven't seen Groot before either, and yet I'm not getting a never before seen. Okay. On reveal, on reveal, on reveal. Do that. That's not a right move. Alright. Let's do that. That is the right move because we're gonna have to play everything on this anyways next turn.
It's clobbering time!
The cubes you'll win for lose double after 6.
Clear for takeoff.
Yeah, I think that meant the cubes you win or lose on turn 6 will be doubled. Final turn. +2. +2. Right, so we could either do this or this, which this really is the only one to do. I'll just play there and hope that wins. So I get 2 cubes instead of 1 because I made it to turn 6, I guess. And maybe there's a collection there. But it seems to me, as best as I can figure, that, let's see if we can get this. Maybe we just get it over here that way. This game has way too many currencies around it. That's all of chapter 1. Welcome to Marvel Snap. And now we have a chapter 2, noticeably not really even a chapter 3. And in 2 hours of playtime, we really have unlocked a fairly large amount of stuff. Just like way more stuff than you really should have been able to unlock. Like, I'm no genius here by any means as far as playing through this. So I think this is pretty much an average person's experience of playing the first couple hours of this game. Yeah. And unlocking one thing leads to unlocking the next thing. Activate on the reveal abilities of your other cards at this location so you could reactivate on reveal cards, which would be cool. And maybe make some sense. Alright. And we really are just going all over the place, backwards and forwards. You're doing a way too much menu hero, as it were. Just going back and forwards through all the menu. Unlocking things, and then because you unlock things, unlocking other things. And like creating a new deck. Like, how do you delete a deck? You have to find the button. Does that count as creating a new deck? Yes, it does. But I can't complete daily missions because I'd have to wait another 30 minutes to do that and play a match with a new deck. They definitely are going to try and get you to play around. We could, if we could get the images to show, and that snap is terrible. It's probably easier to do, say, this. That was a mystery variant. Yeah, we could talk about like all the characters being shown here. There isn't too many surprises there. You have, I believe that's probably Black Adam on the left. In the center at the bottom is Spider-Man. That's probably She-Hulk on the right. Hulk in the mid-center. Storm on the top left. I want to say Dr. Manhattan, but that's not right. He is a doctor, but then he became a magic guy. And he had a whole movie or two based off of him, and I can't even remember his name. And then maybe that is Baby Galactus in the top right, or just Galactus in the top right. Not really a lot of deep cuts, though, as far as characters. Let's see. When we hit play here, let's just cancel out of that. Let's just hit retreat. Like, the cubes don't have anything, I think, to do with the game at all. It's annoying, to say the least. Yeah. This may just make me play. So we may just play another game here. But yeah, I'm clicking on the Cosmic Cube. It's giving me no reaction whatsoever as far as that being anything of value. It is just the number of pips you get before you level up. A 1 energy rock. One card here has +5 power. Okay. In the turn. Yep. And I have to just kind of assume the game has glitched out and taken away the retreat button. Because this doesn't feel like this is a tutorial mode. If this is a tutorial mode, then the opponent is confident they snapped. Oh, I remember what this is. This is like a old board game where cubes you are battling over will be doubled. Retreat before playing for the double. So this is a tutorial mode. So basically, pull a card from each player's hand here. Basically, it's a case where you double the gamble.
Avengers!
So
Assemble.
if I snap again, it probably will go for 4. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, because then that means you could be playing against somebody who is smurfing, which means they're intentionally playing badly to win. Let's see. I don't even want to play the rocks. You know what? Whatever. I'll just put rocks there. Yeah. So if I could snap and double this again, which it's not letting me do because I think this is a tutorial late into the game. Is this enough though? 2, 4, 6 plus that. 2, 4, 6 plus 1 would be 7. So you put this here instead.
I am Iron Man.
Remember, this doubles again at the end of the game. Retreat before the losses increase. Yes. Retreat now or retreat later if the opponent also retreats. Let's retreat later.
Escaped.
Excellent choice. You only lost 2 cubes instead of 4. Collect reward. And that means I lost 2 cubes on the player level, which means I need 10 to win. So it is very much a gambling system.
3D.
I don't think that's a smart move by any means. Like, once again, we're just gonna go in circles with all the unlocks, but that's a very complicated system to have as far as the ranks go, when everything else about this game has been super simplistic and easy to understand. The game I'm thinking of, I think, is Backgammon, but maybe it's Baccarat. It's a dice rolling game where you move little checker pieces back and forth, and there's specific rules to it that I won't bother explaining. But one of the things that you can do is you can double, and when you double, you're doubling the amount of money that you would be gambling if you were playing the game for money. Now, it isn't really a game that too many people these days actually do play for money, but it is enough where they gamble for points. And certainly that explains why there's 100 levels of upgrades here. If 10 cosmic cubes get you up a level, and I'm at level 11, then yeah, you could double and then double again to 4 and do that twice in 2 games, and you would be 8 out of the 10 cosmic cubes that it would be necessary to win. And then that just overly I wouldn't say complicates as much as just convolutes every single game into the point where it is really just going to be much like the game Liar's Dice, where you just have to be confident and bluff. Or poker is a much better example than Liar's Dice, really. It turns a very simplistic game like this into something like poker, where you're just going to try and outbid the person by bluffing to win, instead of actually being skillful to win. Which, yeah, oddly, I was saying that we would stay until we figured out what the Cosmic Cube does. Now that we know what the Cosmic Cube does, and it actually does drastically change how the game plays, it just doesn't change it for the better. It changes it for the worse. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't see anything in Marvel Snap that would make me ever want to play it anymore. Now it is early access. They could tweak things. They could get rid of what the Cosmic Cube does and make it do something different. Inherently, this game is going to still dry up with just Marvel characters, and that this really is going to have to very quickly become Disney's Smash Brothers equivalent, where other characters from Star Wars and other Disney properties are going to show up. Otherwise, they just aren't going to have enough characters or variants to interest people. They should be integrating to something like Comixology. They should have some character backstory to describe who the characters are. Even if it's just basic things as far as like height, width, eye color, general descriptions even would be helpful. There should be like a whole S.H.I.E.L.D. section somewhere where it's a S.H.I.E.L.D. dossier instead of like news. There should be like a S.H.I.E.L.D. dossier that pops up, or when you click on a card you should have a S.H.I.E.L.D. dossier description. Yeah, I could definitely see an alternate version of this game where it wasn't cards and it was just 3D models fighting each other, and certainly that would have taken a lot more resources to animate. But notably, if Ben Brode was the main moving force around Hearthstone being such a great game, they chose, or he chose, and his employees chose to go in such a different direction that I just don't see the evolution from things like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! That was added to something like Hearthstone. I don't see Marvel Snap being the next Hearthstone and the next step in that evolution. It feels like a step backwards. It feels super simplistic and dumbed down. It feels like a project that they did because they just didn't have the resources or money, even though this is a Marvel game and they somehow got the Marvel license. It seems like they didn't probably have the manpower to make a bigger game, or even the beginnings of a bigger game, and they were just targeting a smaller project. And you can't really make trading card games as small projects. It just doesn't work. So hopefully maybe Second Dinner's next project it more appeals to me. Excuse me, I've been talking too long and I've run out of water to drink. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's going to be it for this recording. On my YouTube page, there's a playlist tab that has a playlist for every other game I've ever covered. Lots and lots of videos of Hearthstone if you want to check those out. You can watch me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday live streaming Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, while also talking about video game news, and it's about 50-50 on that. And looking at every game that came out on Steam. As always, I ask you to like, share, and subscribe because that helps me with YouTube. And then if you want a friend to follow me on other social medias, there's links down below. If you want to support me even further than that, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.